Thank you. All right, so I have talked about the Tai Chi stance and about sinking down in the mud, but I just couldn't help myself because I have this really good visual for this. So we have this lovely Tai Chi lady. Now, she's got nice Tai Chi hands. They're nice and rounded, connecting the hula hoop as we've talked in the past. However, sadly, her knees do not bend too well, so she has a pretty high Tai Chi stance. That's okay. They're bent a little bit. So if she gets in her Tai Chi stance, as we all do, and she puts her feet on the ground, she's on a solid, her feet are on a solid surface, like we are doing when we're in our Tai Chi stance. Well, her center of gravity is very high, actually. It's up pretty high. And for men, the center of gravity is even higher. It's up at the shoulders because the bulk of the weight in men is up high in the chest, and our women, we have it down in our hips. But even so, either way, the center of gravity is quite high. That makes us very easily toppled over because of that center of gravity being high, and we're on this solid ground. So the ground almost acts as a fulcrum, and we can be toppled over. So how do we overcome that? How do we become nicely rooted in Tai Chi and in our Tai Chi stance? Well, we simply just use our mind and we change the scenario. So, this is the fun part. Rather than standing on the ground, we sink in the mud. There she goes. Sinking, sinking, sinking. Now don't worry, we're not going to sink all the way over our heads. We're only going to sink up to the dantian, but in her case, because her mind's only letting her go so far, she can only sink up to the thighs. But even so, now she doesn't have to use any muscles to stand in place because the mud is encasing her. It's giving her this inherent stability simply by sinking down in that mud. Now she's enveloped and can just relax those muscles, and her center of gravity is now right there on the bottom of the base of the earth. And she is sunk deep, deep into the earth. So now if I tried to topple her over, I have to overcome that mud. Right? And if I wanted to pull her over, I would have to first oh, nice sound. Can you hear it? Pull her out of the mud before I could even begin to topple her over. So when we do our Tai Chi stance, I want you to simply imagine that you are sinking down into the earth, deep into the earth, and the earth is just enwrapping you, enveloping you in this nice encasement that allows you to be stable, secure, and with a much lower center of gravity. Now what happens in counterbalance to that, because in Tai Chi and in nature everything has a counterbalance in equal proportion is what we strive for, is that from the dantian up, so we'll just say from her belt up, this part is expanding upward. So it's expanding up and filling with emptiness like that balloon. So you have this nice heavy rooted feeling at the bottom half, and then at the top half, because you're rooted, has the freedom to expand and fill like the top half filled with helium, for example. So then we have this nice balance, and that will give you the ability to move lightly, be able to quickly, lightly move, while at the same time feeling rooted and deep into the earth with a low center of gravity. So that is my fun lesson on the Tai Chi stance and using our mind to make ourselves feel better rooted and not have to use our muscles to maintain a nice stable Tai Chi stance. So she's going to take a bow. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And goodbye, she says. There. Wasn't that fun? Very expensive props, all from the Dollar Tree. All right, so let's try it. Let's get in our Tai Chi stance. I do hope I'm recording. I am. And just soften your feet. And imagine now that you are letting your feet sink into the mud. So you see, it's a process of letting go. We're not fighting it, but we're not collapsing. So your feet just get really soft, and imagine that now instead of standing on top of that lid or on top of the earth, you're allowing your feet to melt down into the ground. Okay? So now it's over the top of your feet. And now it's moving up the shins, encasing your whole lower half of your legs. And now working up above the knees, mid-thigh, to the qua now, right here. And this is the really important part. As it comes up over the qua and to the dantian, just let go of your hip joints and feel like they're just sinking into the mud. And at that point is when you can start to expand the upper spine as well. So there's no tension here. You don't have to hold this. It's being held by this sinking into the earth. So you can just almost feel like this whole area is opening up. And now you've got the mud all the way to the level of the dantian. So do you feel really nice and rooted? You kind of feel this heaviness, but you're not working because you can let go of the muscles. Just let go of them. And then feel as though you're pushing upward a little bit, like you have a heavy hat on. And that helps to position your spine and your neck. Now, because the upper half is light, you can still move. So we feel rooted, but you can move. So just try taking a few steps. And for each step, feel like you're still in the mud. It's like you're sliding around in the mud. So you're not coming up out of it, you're sliding around in it, and you're being pulled here, so it makes it easy to move around in that mud. Yeah, it's nice. It's a nice feeling. It's a rooted feeling, so that at any point, let's try waving hands in clouds. At any point along this movement, you still feel sunk into the mud, and expansive at top, and that somebody could try to pull you, but they'd have to pull you up out of the mud before they could pull you over. Or if they tried to, right here, if they tried to push you, are you centered? Are you rooted? Are you expanded? So move a little bit and just play a little bit, and then just stop somewhere. You can stop anywhere along the movement, and then assess. Are you easily uprooted? Are you sunk into the earth? How stable do you feel? And then move again, and just experiment with different places. Like right there when I stop, I feel like I could be toppled over that direction, back this way. So I just got to let go of my hamstrings and sink into the mud a little more. Now I'm stable. Now somebody can't push me. So I'm going to go around and I play around a little bit more with it, and I'll find a different place to stop. And that one feels pretty rooted. Okay? So go ahead and just practice it, play it with it a little bit, and then kind of do a little stop somewhere and ask yourself, how centered are you? How sunk into the mud are you? How stable are you if somebody were to push or pull you? Yeah.